Hello and welcome to a new episode of Pat's Chat. Today I have an awesome guest joining me from India. It's Anuj Kulkarni. Hi Anuj, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Pat. Hope it is good for you too.
All good here so far. I know that you told me before you're still in lockdown phases in India.
That's right.
Okay, how long is that going on already?
It's little more than 4 months now. So,
About 4 months total lockdown.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Let's come back to that a little bit later, how you survived that time. First of all, as always, I would like to know a little bit more about yourself. So how do you see yourself as a person? How would you describe yourself?
sure. Uh, in terms of my background, I come from a very humble background. A family of teachers and artists, musicians, to be specific. Yeah, and grew up in a middle class family in Mumbai, born and brought up in Mumbai, and in the early 90s, when the internet was flourishing all over the world, that is the time I actually picked up IT, as my career choice. And very early in my career, I also got certified and educated in the software world, to say so. And that also gave me opportunity to practice not only technology, but also look at the people's side of, how people adopt and use technology.
Hmm.
So early 90s till say about 25, 26 years so far, I have seen probably three or four generations of IT and how it has, transformed the world. Yeah, so that's a
Yeah.
little bit brief about myself.
Okay,
I have
cool. Yeah,
traveled.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you very
sure.
much. Yeah.
So,
Sorry, yeah. Let's come to that right away. I know you travel quite a lot for the company you started working. I'm not sure that's an infotech company. You were
hmm
project manager of learning and content management.
yeah,
So in the oil and gas field, that's also interesting to know. So yeah, you traveled a lot. US, Europe, Singapore. I noted here.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh
So,
yeah.
uh, yeah, it's been a fantastic journey. I was working for one of the big organizations in India called Lawson and Tobro Infotech. They're a IT division, and I got an opportunity to travel to the US for one of the leading oil and gas, company in the US, way back in 2003, 2004, to be very specific, about 15 years back, if I say so. And that was a new journey, if I say so, in my career, in terms of doing IT in the oil and gas industry. Uh, and that also helped me get a perspective on how the legacy businesses work, not only in India, also in the US, and how they're using technology to transform themselves into the new culture and the new transformation that was happening.
Hmm.
While in the US, I've stayed there for almost 10 years, spent a lot of time there on various projects, various clients, various culture, and meeting a lot of new people, which otherwise I was not doing when I was in India. And that has transformed me as a person individually, and also the kind of learnings I got, you know, by getting exposed to that environment. So that is the first lesson that I probably can share with everyone. That if you want to learn, travel a lot. You know, travel to different cities, travel to different countries, and even if you traveled a lot globally, if you wish to come back to your home country like I did in the year 2014, that's also okay. But traveling gives you a lot of perspective about not only technology, but different people, different cultures, and different way of living things.
Yeah.
So that's
So what?
probably, yeah.
So what is the first thing when you went the first time overseas to US and work there? You know you will stay there a couple of months or years, whatever was the plan. But what was your first impression? What was things that shocked you or surprised you when you arrived there?
Yeah, interesting question. Yeah. Uh, so the first time in the US, even if you look at uh, people in general, the way people live there, work there, uh, there's a lot of uh, awareness in people about what they do, how they do it, and how they also adopt technology. So, being obviously a country like the Americas, they're advanced. They adopt things very quickly as compared to developing countries like India. So that's the first thing. The way people live and work is very different there. In a situation like current pandemic, we are kind of forced to work from home. But in the US, it is a norm. A lot of people work flexibly, work from anywhere. I'm talking even 15 years
Hmm.
back. You know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
For
Hmm.
them, yeah. So for them, this may not be a big disruption. That, suddenly you are not going to office and working from home. But for someone in India, it's a very different, way to work from home. So that's the first thing. Second, people there are very, very empathetic. So if you walk down the street and uh, you ask for help, or something that is going on. Even when I have my younger son, was born and he was there with me. People who cross you, meet you at restaurants or in cafes, they talk to you.
Hmm.
Irrespective of where you come from, what religion you are, uh, they are very open and they talk to you. So that's the second thing that I like. Be empathetic, uh, talk to people, learn from the experiences. It not always has to be like work. It can also be about life in general, the
Mm,
place
yeah.
where you stay, the place where you, shop, the place where
Okay.
you go for say picnics or whatever. So that's the second lesson that I
Yeah.
learned there. The third lesson I learned there is you can really strive for making a work-life balance. Yeah, in other countries, the work takes a lot of priority than the personal life. But in the US also the challenge is there, but they are fairly balanced, I would say. A lot of importance is given to family and the personal life. It's not just work, work, and work. Uh, that's the third thing I learned there. These are the things as I learned when I first time visited, and being an observer and learner myself, I could see that differences.
Yeah. Yeah.
That really helped me change my perspective about.
Huh. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that, Anuj. So, 10 years US, and then you moved to Europe after that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see you were in other big cities in Europe, Berlin and Amsterdam.
yeah.
That must have entire change again to what you saw or what you lived in US.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very different from what it was in the US. But again, as I said, if you travel, to different countries, if you experience different cultures, different people, there's a lot to learn, and kind of you develop yourself as a person. So when in Berlin, I was there for a very short time because the assignment for which I had gone to Berlin actually moved from Berlin to Amsterdam. So that's the change that happened
Mhm.
in a
Yeah.
few months' time. But even when I was there for a few months, amazing amazing culture, amazing people. And what I learned there is people really love and take pride in their own culture, their own language, and the things that they do in Germany. Yeah, and which is a very good thing. When I come back to India, I mean, people think you should adopt the European or American culture. Although you can, there are a lot of benefits to that, or even the Asian culture for that matter. But your roots, or where you belong, I think also plays a very, very important role. That's something I learned when I was in Germany. And Netherlands, which was, I was in Amsterdam. Again, in terms of European culture, not very different. But people there are very open, very, very helpful, very open to new ideas. And people there would also go beyond their call of duty to help other people. Yeah. So as a migrant worker going to Amsterdam, a newcomer coming there, I was received very warmly, and I was also, supported and assisted by a lot of people, not only at work, but also in general, my neighborhood where I stayed.
Mhm.
So that's a very different, experience that I received in the Europe. Very warm people, very supportive. Yeah, they take pride in their culture, their language. Yeah, although they are also global organizations, organizations like Siemens, organizations like Atos, for which I worked when I was in India. So that's another piece of learning, while being in the Europe.
Okay, cool. And to finalize that journey for that company, I also want to know, you moved back to Asia, to Singapore for an assignment. So let's close that circle. How was that? How was the final stage
Yeah,
of that big journey?
yeah. I mean, it's really a close-up circle because from Singapore, then I came back to India. Yeah. So, but yeah, Singapore, a different country, a small country, but very developed, very good in terms of the law and order, that they believe in. Being a small country, you're limited by the options there, but the public transport is very good. So you can virtually go anywhere across Singapore, and you can work, you can learn, you can have fun. What I saw different in Singapore is there are a lot of different cultures and different people from around the world who actually come and work in Singapore. Yeah, so it's kind of a congregation, or a place where you can meet diverse set of people. Yeah, which
Yeah.
probably may not be that easy in other countries.
Yes.
But Singapore is probably one place where you see the diversity uh, at work as well as the places where I live. So that's a very, very good thing. Singapore is very structured and very developed country. Yeah, so that's another thing which a lot of people don't know. And third thing, obviously, it's a financial hub for a lot of MNCs. Yeah, and being in the oil and gas industry and being working in that field, it was amazing to see how Singapore has made themselves, like a central district for both oil and gas and the financial, companies of the world.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay, great. Again, thanks for sharing that. And I see you have like really a lot of learning that you took your experience from these different countries. And when we put that all together, and you were in the management of learning, how would you say that this which were the most significant changes in the learning approach of the different countries or areas? Or can we say, well, it's all the same everywhere?
no, there are differences. In fact, if time permits, probably so one day I'll write some research paper on how learning is done in different countries. But
Okay.
that's for a different discussion, maybe. When I write
Yeah.
that.
Let's take
Yeah.
only a few minutes with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So, but yeah, I mean, if I look at countries like India, or probably most countries in Asia, uh, we are very tightly ingrained into the classroom, and having a teacher or a professor who is imparting knowledge. Yeah. So we have someone who is experienced, who probably has attained a level of maturity in a subject, and they generally become the coaches or teachers for you when it comes to education or even in the professional life. If you go to countries like the US or Europe, you probably don't feel that. There are a lot of people who may not be as experienced, or not like those professors or coaches. But because of the experience and exposure that they get in those countries, they adopt to new things very quickly, and you can learn from even a teenager, or even someone who is of your age, yeah, being in this country. So that's
Okay.
barrier of education and learning from others. If I compare to a country like India,
Yeah.
is very, very less in other countries. People are very open. You can learn from 60 or 70-year-old. You can also learn from 10 or 15-year-old teenagers there.
Is that you think also a question of like the respect, or the question of you would expect like someone older has more experience than someone younger, and you don't really trust a young guy can really teach you something valuable?
Yeah, there's a big difference. And I learned about a concept of reverse mentoring, a few years back, and I actually see that being practiced in other countries, like in America or Europe. So age really doesn't matter, experience doesn't really matter. The kind of work that you have done, both in personal or your work
Hmm.
life, uh, and your ability to share that with others. That's the skill that everyone has to learn. So
Hmm.
that really makes a difference, and
Okay.
that's what I learned from these.
Yeah.
In terms of the technology that is used in learning, again there are a lot of variations. But I would say that technology has made it a leveling field for everyone.
Hmm.
Technology has made things easier. Technology which has been adopted by different countries, different people, is kind of bringing people closer, and that gap is kind of narrowing,
Hmm.
in the learning and development space.
Okay, 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 great. Thanks a lot, Anuj. Let's move into the topic that we pre-discussed. We want to touch a little bit more on it today, besides the learning, and that is the innovation, the innovative part, the innovative mindset, as you call it. I know you're running some webinars on that. You're very experienced in that, and the first question, of course, I have is. There's a lot of discussion going on. Okay, now the crisis that we have on a global basis, that is the driver for most of the innovations, right? So companies have to innovate now, and of course we see a lot of products coming out. A lot of companies are really innovative. So what is your point of view on that? I mean, of course, the crisis helped a lot, but why do companies wait until there is a crisis to really be innovative?
Yeah, that's a very, very important question, and I'm glad that you're asking that. You know, so here is my take on that. If you look at the history, uh, all the crises that have happened in the last 100 years or maybe 200 years, crisis is the biggest teacher and the biggest opportunity that we have, to do innovation at rapid pace. You know, so in case of crisis, you will see a lot of companies trying to adopt, develop new practices, develop new products, develop new solutions, and because it is crisis and you have limited time, the innovation quotient actually goes high, and a lot of people are trying to do that. But that doesn't mean innovation can only happen during crisis. Yeah, it probably gets more focus. It gets probably more dollars, in terms of investment, and there is a strong need to innovate something faster to come out of the crisis. But if you look at the history, otherwise also, people have been innovating even otherwise, you know, and that is what even I cover when I talk about innovation mindset, or if I talk about design thinking as a methodology, to cover how do you innovate, in a crisis situation. But there is I believe innovation is something anyone can do. Yeah, and there are two reasons why I say that. And nobody who has done innovation in the past, if people take example of Steve Jobs, Henry Ford, uh, Elon Musk, and the likes of them. Definitely, if you look at their backgrounds, they probably are as good as all of us in this started off. You a humble, normal human being, lived in a country with family, have faced some challenges in their initial, years, and those challenges help them to look at how things can be done differently and innovate. Yeah? So the opportunity to innovate is for everyone. Uh, from the time we wake up in the morning, till the time we go to bed every day. If you look at our life, at work or even in society otherwise,
Hmm.
every moment and every place gives the opportunity to think about innovation. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do. Make people aware that innovation is not something which is special that only few people in the world can do. It's
Okay.
something that anyone, if having the right mindset, can do. And
Okay.
crisis, as I said, is opportunity, but innovation doesn't have to happen only during the crisis.
Yeah,
It can
yeah,
happen
should not, right? We agree on that. But that's a very interesting point. Now you're saying basically everyone can learn to be innovative. It's a skill that is really learnable. But uh, I mean, of course, I don't want you to give an entire like 3 days workshop right here. But high level, what is the approach? Where do you start with that? How can you really develop such a mindset?
Yeah, very, very. targeted question, and I have a very targeted answer for that. Yeah. So innovation happens in two ways. One is there is a challenge or a problem that you are facing, personally, at work, maybe with family, or the places that you visit on a daily basis, or maybe even during vacation. So that is either a personal problem for which you're trying to solve or find a solution, or it is a problem of someone else who is close to you, or that somebody is facing this problem, and therefore need to do something about it. Yeah. Innovation, uh, as a word, sounds very, very creative, and something that only some people can do. But if you look at the definition of innovation, basically taking a new idea or a problem, yeah, and applying a structured methodology to solve it. And very importantly, while you solve it, you're also looking at making some money or revenue out of it. Yeah. So people who take up innovation as a practice or as a job, they most of the time forget this particular perspective. Innovation is not about being creative. It is being creative, taking up a problem, looking at possible solutions to it. And if I'm the person who is going to solve that problem, I also to look at how do I solve that problem in order to also make some benefit out of it. Now, the benefit always need not be in terms of dollars. It could also be in terms of what is the achievement for you. I just feel happy that I'm helping someone to get a solution for the problem.
More a social
But in
course,
most
right?
cases, exactly. And most cases, it is something. If you look at the enterprises and organizations of today, they're looking at solving the core problems. At the same time, also looking at how they can be profitable, make money. A lot of people don't look at this angle of innovation. But if you look at that, I can do something and also make some earning for myself in the process, it changes the mindset. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share about.
Okay, good. Yeah, that was a very targeted answer. Yeah. So you're building teams, or you help company doing that, moving forward in the learning. Now you took a new role with Geo Platforms. I think it's a huge company in India, which is focusing on digital learning also. And I think that's a very interesting aspect also. We saw a lot of, the learning all went digital or went towards e-learning. What is the biggest difference that you see, or approach, or challenges that you faced also when you figured out like the face-to-face learning was not possible anymore, but you needed to go digital via Zoom, via WebEx, something like this?
Yeah, in fact, you're doing that right now.
Yes. Yeah, correct.
You're sitting in Malaysia, sitting in India. But yeah, I mean, that has changed the game. Again, as I said, in a way, this was forced upon us. Yeah. But if I go back probably a few years, a couple of years back, this opportunity existed, and at least from India perspective, I can say a lot of new startups and organizations have picked up education, digital learning or education using technology very, very seriously. Yeah, it so happened that they had to solve the problem quickly in the last few months, but the process of innovating in the learning and education space had already begun, at least in a country like India. Yeah, because people realize the traditional way of doing learning was not sufficient. For a few reasons. One is you cannot scale it. Second is in terms of the reach, we are not reaching the every student or every employee who is remote. And third, you are limited by the resources in terms of the subject matter experts, the coaches and the mentors. By using digital learning and by applying technology, today I can learn someone like Pat who is in Malaysia. I don't have to really worry about he being in India, or when I'm sharing my knowledge with other people, I don't really worry about where I am. The physical boundaries have actually blurred in the process. That's very, very exciting thing in terms of the digital learning space. Second is I believe in both open and closed door innovation. Yeah. For the organization where I'm working, we do a lot of innovative things, innovative products and services. We are building all of them today also. That is in a closed door kind of environment, wherein we have a specific team you have a specific objective, and you have a product or solution to be built. What I'm also looking at parallelly is how do we do open innovation. You know, so people from diverse backgrounds, diverse experiences, diverse industries come together. They do empathy, they do ideation, they do prototyping, and they develop wonderful solutions. Now the need is more because in order to innovate at a faster pace or rapidly, you also need a lot of people to also have the right mindset. Yeah. Instead of a few hundred or few thousand people doing it, what if a few crore or few lakhs of people understand and do this? It will also create a lot of jobs, for other people in the future. Yeah. So with that uh, objective in mind, I'm looking at both closed innovation as well as the open innovation.
Okay, okay. That's a very good point. Basically, I want to just ask exactly that question. I came across this open innovation. I wasn't sure about what it is. So you're saying you just bring, instead of like within the company, you're having the same people because they have the same ideas, same mindset. You probably bring together a more diverse team from different countries, different background, different experience, and you let them innovate together. That is more the open innovation.
That's right.
Okay, okay, that is interesting. How is your experience with that? How does this work out? Because that is probably has different challenges when you're like in a virtual team than if you can just go to the whiteboard and draw it there.
Yeah, I understand. There are challenges, and as I said, in innovation, particularly open innovation, there are more challenges. But the kind of innovations that happen in an open environment are the results are amazing. The happiness is amazing. The satisfaction of doing something different for a different industry, different organization, or even in for say the NGOs as they call them, the non-profit organizations.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
really, really, embrace open innovation. That helps in doing two things. One, if you're doing open innovation, your learning is fast tracked because you're talking to a very diverse set of people from different backgrounds, and they help you think broader in terms of the real problems and how you want to solve it. That also helps you in your closure innovations back in the work environment,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the
Correct.
perspectives that you get in open innovation projects really, really helps you build as a person and have more ideas, more solutions when you go back to work.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Interesting.
really, really helps.
So use it jointly, right? So use it open innovation, also the feedback in the closed one in the team in house.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, cool. So maybe one of my final questions I can address. When we look at the innovation and we come back to the crisis, to the lockdown, some companies were quite late, as we discussed before, in innovating. Some companies figured out, okay, it should be an ongoing thing that we want to do, not only when we really have to do it. Some countries are going into a second wave. Some, like India, you just mentioned, still in a lockdown. When companies really want to start to be more efficient and optimize their innovation or their innovation capabilities, what is your top tips, like 2, 3 top tips to them, where to start, how to set this up, how to work with that?
Okay. I think very relevant question for the current, timing, the crisis that we are all going through. But there are a few steps that every organization, every individual, can take. First is being curious. When you look at a current situation, there are a few hundred or few thousand ideas that can be picked up, and we can solve the problem. If I look at, say, online education, all the children, the school children in India, are now sitting at home and doing online, learning. They're forced basically. The teachers who were teaching them in school are all sitting at home and doing, online teaching. Yeah. So the environment, everything has changed. That brings its own challenges. Yeah. That is one thing. Second is this opens up uh, kind of Pandora box, because as you rightly pointed out, there are few organizations who probably would do it well. There are few which are lagging behind, and there are few who probably would not even survive a few months from now.
Hmm.
And the difference between all the three types of you know companies, organizations, is how fast you can innovate, how fast you can look at the problems around you, and how fast you can solve them. So being curious about what's happening around and whether I can do something about it is very, very important. The second aspect of that particular opportunity is to, as I said earlier, also look at, is this something that I can be part of and I can solve? Not every problem can be solved by every individual. Yeah? So I really have
Yeah.
to focus on what's something that I can do to look at the specific problem, and do I have the right knowledge, right people, and you also need money, right? You also do need money
Yeah.
to do innovation. Do we have
Correct.
the right kind of budget, and also do we have technology? If I decide to do something uh, in a particular situation, whether I have the enough technology available, enough money to invest, and the right set of people. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's very, very important for people to understand. You can take help. People are willing to help in innovation, because ultimately it's for their benefit. But you also need to evaluate. Is this something for me? Can I take up all the problems faced by all the people and solve it myself? The answer is no.
Yeah.
So you really have to choose what's the priority for you, and where you can actually provide some help. And the third thing, very, very important, is uh, you cannot be innovative one day, and you cannot be living a legacy life the other day. Yeah. If you
Hmm.
are thinking about being curious, solving problems, it's an ongoing process. So the crisis will get over. You'll have some solution. You'll have a vaccine for everyone to survive. What happens after that? Do you go back to your old ways of working, or do you still look at what if something like this happens next year, or maybe 5 or 10 years from now? Are we preparing ourselves, you know, to face a similar challenge, and then not do innovation in a crisis, but make it as a more of a practice and
Correct.
build
Yeah.
upon that?
Okay. Awesome. Great. Perfect. Thank you so much for those tips. I think they are really helpful. I hope it helps a lot of people that listen to this episode. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, Anuj, in your journey across the world, in your the trainings, the training approach, and above all the innovation. I think that was quite interesting to listen to that. Thank you so much, Anuj, for your time.
My pleasure, and thanks for hosting me. And I'm sure people find some value, from this chat that we had. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Thanks
thank you.
so much again. And thanks to everyone watching and supporting this podcast. Looking forward to a new episode next week. Thank you. Stay safe and healthy. See you then.